Jerit Roser from Louisiana versus all y'all here with Anthony Rhodes Jr. from Anthony Rhodes Jr. Media, a little crossover between some of the things that we do, looking at this bracket that, Anthony, you released kind of late last week, looking at who were some of the top wide receiving cores at the high school level around New Orleans. All kind of started, as we've talked about the last few days, with a little bit of back and forth between Holy Cross and Karr. And it comes down to a rivalry that everyone in the city knows very well, Edna Karr and Warren Easton, West Bank and East Bank, and a damn near 50-50 split, another close one in virtual world, and Warren Easton pulls out the win and the glove giveaway that was involved with this bracket. So you get to go back to school safely and whatnot. Take me through some of it, man, because it was about as close as it could have possibly been.
Yeah, so I guess to start about the finale with Karr and Easton. At the end, so when I first started, it was like Easton majority of the way for about the first 2 hours. Then literally from, I guess, like it flipped, and then it was like a 60-30 Karr lead. Then it started to like narrow down, but for majority it was like 55-45. I mean 60-40, but 55-45. Like from that point yesterday, like in the evening time, well, afternoon, I guess, until like early this morning. And then like a lot of like Eastern people were like, y'all vote for Eastern, y'all vote for Eastern. So it started to narrow up. But then Karr was like 52-48 as far as percentage wise. Then it just got closer and closer. And it was tied for almost like going into like the last hour. Then it was Eastern took a small lead and they just kept a small lead, but literally Eastern won by 2 votes. So like it was very close, but like it was a good showing. I'm happy like that people got involved and people just participated in the vote. Got some good conversation going. But of course we know that rivalry is Eastern and Karr, so it just added, I guess, a little bit more to it. Now it's going to give them a little bit more to prove on the field now.
Yeah, I mean, right now there's so much less going on than we're used to at this time of year, and so I think a lot of people are excited to just get involved in any of the conversation as they can, and certainly that thing gets heated on the field all the time, and it can get heated on Twitter as well. And you mentioned it comes down to 2 votes in the finals, which was of about 900 votes, and you had thousands vote in the different rounds throughout the past few days, and up there pushing close to 1,000 in the final round, and ends up all coming down to a couple of votes, which is crazy. But when we talked on Monday about it, you said that you could see if the vote got lopsided that Karr would probably come away, and if it ended up being a closer vote, you wouldn't be surprised if Easton pulled it out. And that's kind of exactly how it played out, is Easton pulls out a razor-thin margin.
Yes, sir, most definitely. Like I figured it would go like that. Because like like you just said, if it was Karr, if it was lopsided, it would probably be Karr. But then when I saw the Eastern people started to get more engaged and involved because they have a lot of school pride, like it narrowed down that margin and it was a close one. I just knew that, like, I guess in that case, like people try to take whatever battles they can win and win those. So like the Eastern people saw it as an opportunity and they just acted and just showed it out more. I think I got as far as from both sides, like the Karr didn't have as much, like, I guess, Karr interaction as far as like people who were necessarily like hardcore Karr or like the Karr students. I had some, but it wasn't like as many as Eastern to pull through in the late round. Like the way it was set up, it was like, all right, Eastern, let them get it like the beginning, and then late is like, okay, we're gonna flood, we're gonna make sure y'all vote for Eastern, vote for Eastern. So in the end, I think that's why Eastern pulled through.
You had 10 great groups listed on that bracket at the start of all of it, and so obviously it comes down to those 2 that have battled for so many huge late season games, including state championship matchups a couple of times in recent years. But some other great groups out there. Holy Cross, as I mentioned, was involved in kind of the onset of this when Colby Cage on the defensive side of the ball started talking up his guys, Jalen Johnson, Jaden Handy, and those guys. And I mentioned as we've talked through some of this, Newman, I think, a smaller school that really stands out to me as having a great group that is going to put up an awful lot of production with Arch Manning spreading the ball around between A.J. Johnson, Kai Donaldson, Pike Philbert, and even beyond that, the rest of that group. Helen Cox, a good group. St. Aug, we talked to Speedy Brooks about how hungry that group is. They were another semifinal team in the bracket. And the groups for Easton and Karr, Easton, the three that you had listed were Casey Cain, Dash Luke, Curtis Elmore. Karr had Aaron Anderson, Fatt, Pazon, and Dany'e Brooks. Did the fans get it right? What's your perspective on how it turned out and who you view as the top group, or what's kind of the rationale as you weigh them against one another and some different perspectives to take into that conversation?
So the way I put them against each other, I personally gave Karr the slight edge just by a little bit, just on the fact that they have been proven, not discrediting Easton at all, because like you said, I go there, like that's my people. I know necessarily what they can do, but as far as from a media perspective and being like unbiased, like I think last year, like if we're looking through last year's the way the season played out, like from the comments that I was reading, this and this, that was what like led people basically to their vote, because like the Eastern people voted for Eastern, but like it was just like regular fans or just people who watch voted for Karr. But I guess what people don't realize about Eastern is the fact that like our quarterback was a safety. So they didn't really have a quarterback, and they had the best running back in the state, one of the best running backs in the country. So it's like they're going to run the ball, and that was working. So the three receivers, Casey, Alred, and Curtis. Curtis was actually the fourth receiver last year, and we had Jewel Holmes. I think that's his last name. We had him as our. He was actually the number one receiver. So we had him, Casey, and Alred. So not only are they not throwing the ball, but now you have another receiver that you have to worry about. So Curtis is kind of the underlooked one out of all of the group. Out of actually all six of the receivers, the three from Karr and three from Easton, because like I saw a comment, it was like, well, Easton has two elite receivers, Karr has three, but like Curtis is an elite receiver. He just hasn't had the opportunity to show it. Like, Karr does have three elite receivers, and the fact that they've been able to prove their ranks, having Leonard Kelly at quarterback, coming up with big plays throughout the season, whether it be like Fatt getting the big catch in the Curtis game, the lone catch. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, or the touchdown catch in the Carver game in the playoffs. Like they've been able to make those bigger plays, but Easton has been able to make big plays too, as far as the Casey. His two touchdowns against Lakeshore, like the spectacular catches like that. But they've been able to do more of that just because they've been able to get the ball more. As far as a receiver, like they've been able to have more receptions. Like if you check the stats, I guarantee you, like the amount of passes thrown, it's a very large gap. But yeah, like so as far as for now, I give Karr the slight edge just because of the fact that they've been able to prove it more. But for people who did vote Karr and said that it was like a wide gap, I think when you watch his upcoming season and see like the new like Eastern system and the way that they're going to play now, been able to basically spread the ball out more, be able to throw the ball more, I think you're going to not necessarily change your mind, but you're going to have a different mindset is into like, okay, maybe it's not as far of a gap as I thought. Maybe you could toss it up like either or, like you were like if you needed three receivers, you would take Eastern group, you would take Karr group. Like I feel like in the end, the vote was very close. Like it was almost 50-50. And I think in the end, like when you're looking at it, like if you were to revisit this at the end of their senior seasons, I think you'll probably say the same thing too. Like it'd be a 50% vote on each side. Like you could take Karr, you could take Easton. Like it's really up in the air. But yeah, that's my
Yeah, and I came back to, as I was looking at some of this through the weekend and talking with some other people about it, including Josh Preston, who gets to catch a lot of Easton and Karr games as he films Friday Night Football. Proven was a word that I kept coming back to. I joke, it feels like Aaron has been at Karr for 5-6 years, just because he started making plays for them at such an early age, and now he's really developed into a more well-rounded receiver, and he's going to be a really, or I guess at this point already is, a really top prospect for his class, recruiting wise, around the state and around the country. You see Fatt and all the offers he has in place. Dany'e is a guy that's going to play some college ball, and we saw them all do it at such a high level last year, and so I gravitate toward that consistency and that proven commodity. But at the same time, you mentioned there's other factors that go into that. You talk about the difference in schemes, the difference in quarterbacks, the difference in running games at times, and there's certainly a reason why Casey is committed to go play at Texas, or you're going to have some college opportunities for some of these other guys at Easton. So I'm just looking forward to seeing him on a field here before very long. And now the guys at Easton will have some new gloves to sport on the Friday night when they get a chance to link up with you. And it sounds like you'll be doing some more of these brackets here coming up soon as well, and we'll have some more to talk about and kind of debate about a little bit.
Yes, sir, most definitely. Not to discredit any of the guys who made the bracket, like all 30 players who made it. Like, all of you are elite receivers in your own ways. All of you all can do something special. And when it came down to Easton and Karr has their elite group, Easton has their elite group, and like it's a good debate. But like it was said, the best way to prove it is on the field. So yes, and be on the lookout. More brackets are on the way. Possibly as soon as this Friday. So make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. And we'll definitely be doing more of these crossovers. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Just like you mentioned, look out for some more brackets, some more crossover eps. He's Anthony Rhodes Jr. from Anthony Rhodes Jr. Media, from Louisiana versus all y'all, Jerit Roser.